Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Jess, and I am the founder of this lovely podcast. And I've got my wonderful, beautiful co host. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa, and I am with Jess today. I am so lucky to be a part of this project, and I can't wait to keep going with this.
Thank you for being here. I adore you and love you and appreciate you. This is a huge adventure for me. I have been called for a long time to start a podcast, and I've kind of drug my feet and kicked and screamed the whole way through. And universe keeps like just again and again and again putting it in front of me, telling me it doesn't really matter. You're going to do this. Um, so, mom life, I just, of course, naturally got interrupted in the middle of recording a podcast because that's what happens when you have tiny children, right?
Yeah.
I was just saying that I've kind of been forced into this, and so I need you guys to have a little bit of forgiveness while we go on this journey with me because I'm not entirely sure what this looks like. I just know that I've been on a huge spiritual growth journey. Lisa has been a part of it. You've gotten to see a lot of my growth, though I was already on the way when I met you. You've been on your own spiritual growth journey. Um, and so I guess I'll start with I'm going to ask you first and then I'll go second. What has your spiritual journey been like? Have you always been involved with spirituality? When did you know that you were like spiritual in any sense of the word? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So, well, it's funny how the spirits work because we have to go back all the way to like 2009, I think. Um, so I was reading this magazine for teenagers, and they were doing an interview with a lady called Wenche. And she's a very well-known spiritual figure in Norway.
Okay.
And one night I was out and about, well, 19 years old and everything, been out. I had been drinking a little bit. And on our way home, when my dad got me, we saw a lady with a sign saying, "Are you going to Nakkerud?" And that is like the place where I'm actually from. It's like a tiny little town, not even a town, it's just a little place. And I was like, I know that lady. Dad, you have to stop. And that was her. Like, how crazy is that? That was her from the magazine that I've read like a week ago. And we never stop for like hitchhikers because, well, you never know who's out there. But this time I was like, you have to stop. And for some reason, my daddy actually stopped the car. And I turned around and I was a little bit tipsy, I've been drinking a little bit. And I was like, I have seen you before. I know who you are. And she was like, oh, you do? I don't know who you are. And we started talking. Turns out she's almost my neighbor. I mean, what a coincidence is that? And there's a very long story to me and her relationship, but at the end of our relationship, before I actually moved from my mom and dad's, she gave me this.
Is that your first deck?
Um, if this is my first deck, and it's my only deck as well. I have been called to getting another one, but I haven't as of yet. I feel like I have to wait until I'm moving because I'm in a huge life journey right now too. But that's a story for another time. Anyways, I moved for myself just to skip ahead a little bit. And I moved in with a girl who is also, yeah, believing, and she feels things, and she started telling me about all this stuff. And I was like, how did you know that? That's weird. She went to my mom's, who is not a believer, by the way. And she said, okay, so I think your mom is trying to tell me something. And my mom was like, wait, what? Who are you? And she said, well, she keeps showing me like this bowl of fruit. And my mom just went sobbing. I was like, what? So it turns out that that was like her thing with my grandma. was that she always put out like a bowl, and she also explained how the bowl looked like. I can't remember how it did look like, but it just hit my mom so hard that she started crying. She lost her mom like even before I was born. So yeah. And then she started talking to me about the moon because she said that you are connected to the moon, Lisa. And if you just start to open up, if you start using these cards, some magical things are gonna happen. So I did for a few,
Can we
and
pause? Can we pause for 1 second? Because I
yes,
have been telling you forever that you are a divine feminine, and you know what the divine feminine's tarot card is.
yeah,
The moon.
I do know.
The
I
moon. The
know.
moon. Sorry, keep going.
Okay. Well, life happened, and well, I moved away. She moved away into a very hostile relationship. And I just stopped. It was like, in every type of faith or religion or whatever, you always have like times of doubt. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is not for me. I put the deck away, put everything away. And then I moved here to this place in 2019 after a very long journey of birth depression and stuff. And I found this deck when I was unboxing a box. And I thought, okay, let's just put it in the attic. And it was in the attic like forever, and that was the kids' space. So I always saw it when I went up there, but I was like, nah. But I was always telling my kids, you are not touching that. Those are not playing cards. Those are mine. And then, like 7, 8 months ago, I was called to go and get him. Um, and I didn't realize why. I didn't understand why at the time, but I got them. And I was thinking, okay, it's been like forever since I've done this. I can't even remember what a card means, but it'll come to me if I need it. And they've been through me or with me for the 7 past months. And now I'm really guided by them, and I trust them with everything. Oh, I have to tell you
It's
about
amazing.
Herbie too.
Yes.
So Jess knows about Herbie. Herbie is a frog.
I love him.
Uh, Yeah, I love him too. Herbie lives outside my basement window. He just popped up 2 years ago, 1 year ago, when I was really struggling, and I never really realized why until Jess told me about what frogs really mean, and I was like, "Holy hell, this is part of my journey, isn't it?" So he comes and he jumps on the window whenever there's something my guys wants to say. And so he's always there supporting me. I actually have a candle lit in that window now for my guys.
I love it. I love it. And what a beautiful way to like just point out that really spirit communicates with us however we're open to receiving, and sometimes we're not actually realizing that we're being with until like we hear it. It's like when you
Mhm.
hear the same message from somebody over and over and over again, and then a stranger on the street passes you by and they say it and you're like, oh, oh, I get it now. I
Yes.
didn't get it before. um we love Herbie. He's so wonderful. Give him a little smooch for
Thank
me.
you, sweetie.
So I have a weird journey. I don't have anything as like prophetic and beautiful as that. Um, when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, fell into a hole in the ground. I was at my grandfather's cousin's, I think. He had a big farm, and we were playing soccer, which I don't play soccer for those that are football fans or soccer fans. I don't. But we were kicking around a soccer ball or something. And I was running backwards, not paying attention. And there was this huge hole in the ground that was like 6 foot long by like 2 foot wide. It wasn't like
Oh.
like a gaping hole, but it was big enough for somebody to fall in because they were doing electrical work. And I
Mm.
fell in. And I fell on a 2x4, which for those of you that know, 2x4s are not very wide. It was the only piece of wood in there. Otherwise, there were wires everywhere. And I fell in. And they had to pull me out. So I had scratches all down my back when they finally got me out. And everybody was like, do you realize how lucky you are? If you had fallen anywhere else, you would have been dead. You would have been electrocuted. And I knew in that moment, oh, maybe I'm here for a bigger reason. And I remember like that's been a constant theme. I've survived car accidents that I got really lucky. I almost got hit by a semi. I've been in just a lot of really weird, I don't even want to call them near death situations, but situations that were like, how did that happen?
Mm.
And so I've always kind of heard that. And it wasn't until I left my marriage that I really started going, something is really different with me. And when I when I left, I dated a couple of guys. When I started dating the second guy, we broke up and it broke my heart. And I turned to tarot. Tarot had just come up on my YouTube, on my TikTok, and I was like, let me just like look into this. And I started to kind of like get curious about it. And I had kind of known about tarot, but not really. And it kept showing up, and I kept watching these readings, desperate for any like confirmation that I was going to find love and I was going to be loved and, whatever. Mind you, this whole time I had been manifesting my dream person, my dream job, my dream life, and calling it in because I had always believed in manifestation. And I believe that you have the power in your mind to make the life that you want. And so finally, um, in September, I met my twin flame. And by October, I felt called to start a coaching business. And by the end of October, my twin flame and I had separated. We got like a month and a half together. And it was when we separated that I really felt that call of you need to pick up a tarot deck and you need to get in front of people. And my favorite reader, who I've shared with you, Divine Empress Tarot 333, I think is her user handle
Yes,
on YouTube,
that's right.
kept telling me, by me, I mean the collective she was channeling, you need to get in front of people and you have a voice. You need to get in front of people. And so I said, okay, I will get in front of people with tarot. And so on 11/11, which is a very magical day, I did my very first reading. And it was messy and it was everywhere. But at the end of it, I was like, whoa, okay, maybe I have something. And so I was posting every day continuously for a couple of months. I was doing readings for friends. I was doing readings for myself. I've gone back and forth with doing readings, not doing readings, watching readings, not watching readings. My thing has always been numbers. And my whole life, I've recognized numbers. I could memorize people's telephone numbers like that. I would notice patterns and synchronicities with numbers. I was always looking at the clock at 7:29, which is my birthday. It's also the time that my oldest son was born. I always had a thing for numbers. Um, and I'm still channeling that, still honing in on that. But that's been a part of my spiritual journey as well. And I'm noticing um, that the two are kind of tied. And it's been a fun adventure to see how far they've come together. So yeah. Uh
Wow,
well, I guess
Jess.
it's funny because I still there are days. I was talking to one of my best girlfriends about this the other day. I did a reading for her about 6 months ago. And it was a lot of cautionary. It was a lot of watch out for this, watch out for this. And she just rewatched it. She downloaded it and saved it. And she just rewatched it. And she was like, just everything that you said. And I'm not claiming to be prophetic. I am not a prophet. I do not have the gift of prophecy. I don't believe that's a thing, but I do think that there are predictable patterns that we can see and that we can point out and we can choose to advise, right? Like, do we want to go down that path or do we want to choose a different path and we're in control of that? And so I think that's kind of what it is like we kind of get to see a roadmap, not to see like this is the way.
Mm.
But she told me these things all happened. And I was like, so I know that I have a gift, but I think of it like breathing. Like I just do it. I don't really think like it's special or anything. And I see other people do it. Like I watch Lisa do it, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's the same with me, with you. Every time I watch you, I'm like, she knows everything. And when I do it myself, I just feel so insecure, and I'm like, I'm probably wrong with everything, and nothing aligns with anyone. So yeah, when do you
So
do?
glad I'm so glad that you said that though, because that right there, I am so wrong about everything, right? Like I have no idea what I'm doing. It doesn't matter, right? Like that's been the beautiful thing that you and I have been learning this year is part of my English, y'all, but you can't fuck up what's made for you, right? Whatever message is meant to be channeled through you will be channeled. You don't have a choice. Like it's that is the beauty and the magic of the universe is it's going to find a way to get those words out. And that I think is the biggest thing that I've noticed in my life is my entire life I have said the most random and off-handle stuff that people are like, where did that come from? And I'm like, and I realize now it's spirit,
Yeah, right.
right?
Yeah,
And it's wild because it comes out of nowhere, right?
it does.
My twin flame, um, our word was rope. And I don't know why. We met on a dating app. And on his dating profile, it said that one of a movie he could watch every day is Boondock Saints. And I watched Boondock Saints with my ex-husband so many times that I can tell you movie lines. I can like recite parts of the movie, not the whole thing, but many parts. And I grew to love the movie. And so my opening line to him was you and your rope. And it in that moment, that was our word. And it like I had no idea what I was saying in that moment. Um, I still don't even realize like what I said and how impactful it was because you don't know until it impacts someone.
Mm.
So with that, I guess moving into the next piece of obviously this is a very spiritual podcast that we're doing, and we're going to talk a lot about like spirituality, what it's done for us, the signs and synchronicities, how it's grown. I'm getting clarity. I don't know if you can see that right now.
I see it. I see it. So
But the
smiling.
other piece, Lisa, you know me too well. Um, the other piece of it is many of us on this journey are empathetic and we are empaths and we feel things very intensely. I can't say for certain, but I feel like a lot of us that are divine feminines are, just because that's the nature of the divine feminine. She's very nurturing. They're very just nurturing.
Given.
That word keeps coming up, right? Exactly.
Mm.
And with nurture it comes giving, like you said. And so, as empaths, what is the thing that we do? Which means that we often, when we are an unhealed divine feminine, give, 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 give. And so then that attracts our counterpart, our divine masculines, who are unhealed, who then take, 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 take. And everybody's favorite word, the buzzword, right, that's out there these days, narcissist. And I don't know that I believe that anybody is truly narcissistic. Um, I think it's a disorder, right? Which can be overcome if somebody wants. I don't think it's like inherently bad. Like somebody is just like bad to the core. But everybody has narcissistic tendencies. And I think as empaths, we tend to match with those narcissists. And so with
Mm.
that, um, and I'll leave it open to you. Do you want to go first and kind of talk about your experience with the narcissist empathetic paradigm, or do you want me to start? Like, I'm happy to go ahead and open that door. Have you experienced that in your life, and what's that been like?
Well, kind of like you, I don't believe that people are like born narcissists. I think that we ha we learn patterns even through growing up or through stuff happening to you. And I actually think it's like a defense mechanism. And like you do, I think that narcissistic behavior um, is something we all have to some degree. But when that is said, I have definitely been through a few narcissistic people. And when I say that, I'm gonna narrow them down to the ones actually stealing so much energy from you that you are not able to breathe. Because um, I don't want to bring in like people gaslighting me, or that could also be it. But it's more than that, you know. It's like a confidence of someone who is really just trying to push you down. So you're this
Hmm.
tiny, and you believe it, even through intuition, through self-confidence, through anything you have ever been taught or think about yourself. You will just like shrink to becoming this size. And yeah, um feel free to start, Jessica. I love to explain to you, but you can just start this one.
I have to be careful with how much I say because of my past relationship and where that's still at. So I'm going to be very choosy with my words. um, I spent a lot of time in a relationship with a narcissist and had my own narcissistic patterns myself and was just really unhealed. I've been in and out of therapy my whole life. And so I like to say that I knew better. Um, but I didn't. I clung to it because it's what I knew. And my favorite word that I always use, I feel like, is breadcrumbing. And because my dad left when I was very young. He chose drugs and alcohol over me and the rest of his family. And I felt that abandonment. And it stuck with me my whole life. Even though I had a mom that worked very hard, she made sure that I never went without, even if it was very challenging. Um, I still felt that abandonment from my father. And so I went without a father's love for most of my life, from 4.5 to 19. And then when my dad re entered my life at 19, I really only got a very short amount of time with him before he went to prison. So I've not really known my father at all. And so I had that huge gap of love, just what is that word where you just love someone without reason, no matter what. Um, I can't think of what it is, but that kind of love I hadn't experienced. And so I was starving for it. And so the first men that came into my life that gave me any amount of love, I was like, yes, please. Yes, please. I will take it. Yes. And it started off as, these small gestures now looking back at it, but they felt huge because I hadn't had anything. And it was always enough to keep me by, right? And I joked the other day, somebody said, um, how did you know when your marriage was over? And I was like, because it was over from the start. And I think we were both just too stubborn to admit that because we both wanted so desperately for something to work and for us not to be like our parents. Um, and it's true. And it's funny because since we've separated, since we've been divorced, he's found somebody else and he's happy, and I'm happy. And we are much happier than I think we were ever together. Um, but all of my life as an adult, as a teenager, um, anytime I've been in the dating scene has been encountering these men that have offered pieces. And I've followed them and followed them. And the pieces start off bigger and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then the commitment is too much and the men back away and they say, no, this is not, you're too reliant on me. Why aren't you independent? I thought you were an independent person. And then starts the gaslighting and, all of those manipulation tactics and things like that. And then before you know it, they're gone. And you are sat there feeling shattered into a million pieces, going, I'm going to starve. I'm going to starve. I'm going to starve and I'm going to die. And I don't know how I'm going to survive because my only food source is gone. But it's not, because you are your own food source. You know where to find your own food. You've just learned to depend on other people, much like animals in the wilderness. You shouldn't feed them because then they become self-reliant on humans. And what happens when the humans don't come visit? They have to learn how to feed themselves again. So that's kind of a little teaser into my journey with that. It has been very much breadcrumbing is kind of the theme around my journey there, and accepting less than I deserve. And realizing, Lisa, you and I were just talking about this the other day, that I have to realize it's okay if I go without. It's okay if I don't have enough rations to make it to the next meal, because I know no matter what, there is a 7-course dinner coming and it's not going to run out.
Yeah, that's right. That's a beautiful metaphor. I like that. Okay. My story with it, or I have multiple. That my very first relationship, I was 13 and he was, let's see, he was 16. Yes, he was 16. And he was like, okay, so when you're 13 and you land a 16-year-old, you're like on top of the world, you know? And I was like bragging to all my friends. And he also lived like 1.5 hours away from me. And for some reason, I still don't get why, my parents allowed me to sit myself on the bus on the way to Oslo, jump on a train from Oslo, and get to him every weekend. I have no, I would never allow that to my 15-year-old, but I mean, it was another time. And I was also an only child. I don't know my way around my parents. So, anyways, he was um very obsessed with himself, like any 16-year-old man is. But this one was special. He um Oh, I'm lacking the English word, Jess. You have to. Okay, so I'm Norwegian, so sometimes I'm just lacking words. But when you see a person as a thing, he keeps like seeing girl.
Objectifying.
Thank you very much. Um, and that started on like very very early. Um, so he was the first person I had sex with, and it started already there with like Mm. what he was expecting from me around that area.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
was like, you're not truly a girl if you don't do this, or if you don't learn that, then you're not anything. Why am I even here with you? So it started like that. And then it just got worse, you know. He started demanding more, and if we had any tasks, like didn't have to be sexual, it could be anything, and I didn't understand how to do it, he would be like, okay, are you dumb? Who are you? Um, like very looking down on me. And I was thinking, okay, so I'm not gonna ask questions. That was actually the time where I learned not to ask questions if I didn't understand the task. And it ended up with me. He forgot to close his desktop one day, and he was in MSN talking real bad about me, and he had also cheated on me with the same girl. That didn't go on very well. And when I talked to him about that, I was obviously, well, I was 14 at that time. I actually have a cut from that. First and only one time I cut myself. And that was just
Oh,
me screaming, see me, I'm hurting. And he was like, you're crazy. I don't want anything to do with you. And well, that was me being down. That was how I didn't know how to react on that type of behavior. So it got to the point where I was desperate. Like you said, I was trying to catch crumbs. I just needed some attention and reassurance. And all he was giving me was like, well, you didn't do good enough with that. You didn't do that, or you didn't do that. So of course I was gonna go and find someone else who's better than you. I dumped the guy finally. Yay. And I found myself a very super jealous boyfriend instead. Because I was like, okay, I'm not getting that, so let's just go here. And that wasn't a very good idea either, but that was at least not narcissistic in that behavior. But that was my starting point with love, which wasn't very healthy. Yeah, that's one of my experiences with it.
Dang, dang. So I guess tying the two together, um, in what ways do you think you find resilience and strength in your spirituality to help you overcome those moments that you find yourself needing, like that hit? Like I equate the narcissist empath dynamic very much with a drug heroin user, right? The narcissists are our drug, they're our heroin, and we get a hit every time we get something from them, and we are users. And I had to go cold turkey with mine. That's been really hard. How do you find strength in your spirituality, and what do you kind of lean on to get you through?
Well, firstly, I've learned that amongst other things, I have a very scared little girl inside of me, and Jess keeps referring to my little inner girl, who is crying, and she has me like feeling pain like in the middle of my chest right here. And when I feel that pain, I know it's her. Now I know it's her. I never knew that before. Uh, thank you, Jess. Uh, but the more I got into spirituality and readings, the more that feeling of old hurt and you have to heal energy came out. And first time I read that or heard that, I was like, healing? I don't have any wounds. What are you talking about? But you have to like go deeper and actually understand yourself psychologically. And spirits have helped me through cards, through readings, through Jess, amongst others.
The connections.
Yeah, the connections to what has really happened or what I'm feeling or why I'm feeling it. So it makes sense now.
Definitely, definitely. It's funny. I very much the same. I find myself when I am having moments where baby Jess is screaming out, like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. I need love. I lean into those people that I've learned are also spiritual, whether that is my readers that I love to follow. I feel like I should like I will tag them somehow. I'll figure out how to tag, but I'll drop the two of my favorite readers somehow in the comment section, I guess, of this. Um, Leaning into them, leaning into you, right? Leaning into a couple of my other friends that know about my spiritual abilities, or just even leaning into myself and sitting down with my cards and saying, Spirit, show me. I feel lost. The other day, I was like, what am I supposed to do with this podcast? I know I'm supposed to do something, but I don't know where to start. So show me. And Spirit has just been like, okay, you want signs? Here you go, right? And so just leaning into that, right? And for me it's God is my main, like I call it Gus, God, universe, spirit. But for everybody it varies, right? And I think there is some, we won't get into that. We can get into the spiritual side of things later. But leaning into that connection with my creator and realizing that if I am made in his image and he is spiritual, then why wouldn't I also be spiritual? And so leaning into my spirituality in those moments of weakness to help light me through, to help remind me of what my anchor is that's keeping me here, has really made a difference. So yeah,
Mm.
I feel like, you know what? No, I'm going to ask one more thing. If there was something that you could say to yourself as a younger version right now, if the two of you were sitting face to face with each other and you could say one thing to her, what would it be?
Oh, that was a very huge question, but I think that first, I'm not sure if I'm like 100% healed. I feel like you should ask me that question in like a few months when everything is settled. But
It could
I've seen
change.
glimpses of it. I've seen glimpses of it, and I know that it'll be okay. I would tell her that it'll be okay. You are loved. The only love you really need is your own. Um, and you have to learn to trust that. And I still haven't learned to trust that. So I should actually talk to myself like, maybe I'm talking to myself right now. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Who knows?
It's almost like I set that
This is,
up.
yeah, almost like you set that up. Yeah, I'm rumbling around this day. So yeah, but yeah, that is part of my healing journey right now is to learn to trust myself and to love myself and do things for me because no one else is going to do it if I don't. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
What about you?
I very much the same. Very, very much the same. I want to touch on, you said, ask me again in a couple of months once things have settled. And I truly believe that things never settle. That that's part of our journey is stagnation is death. And so things will keep changing and shifting, and our answer will keep changing and shifting based on the part of ourself that we need to heal in that moment. But I'm right with you. Like you are loved. Trust yourself. You know what you can do. Um, I close all of my readings with you can do big, hard, scary things because you are big, strong, and brave. And I realized that, like, I tell my kids that, but I realized when started telling them that, that's me telling me that.
I was just
Um,
about to say that that's something you could have told yourself years ago.
so
Yeah.
somebody told me that part of healing childhood trauma is drama. Where did that come from? Uh, is that you start showing up as the person that you needed in that moment. And that I think is so powerful. So, with that, I'm going to draw from my affirmation cards. Let me get rid of the blank ones that just talk about nothing. Because I feel like I should end on an affirmation. And I don't know why, but it sounds good. So, I'm just going to go until whatever card comes out. We can talk about that and see what message is good for all. I have to get it. Yeah. Are you ready for this? Even as I wait and live in uncertainty, I am whole. Even as I wait and live in uncertainty, I am whole. I don't know if that'll show up the right way. No, it doesn't.
Thank
I'll
you,
have to get the picture.
spirits.
Right?
We were just talking about that being whole and loving ourselves and yeah.
I tell you, it's spirit is beautiful like that. Spirit is truly beautiful. So,
Yeah.
if you have liked today and you are interested in coming along on this ride with us, definitely like and subscribe, follow. I think I might start an Instagram for this as soon as, if you have an idea for naming this, I've got something with soul and forge, like forged from the fire, soul forged from the fire. I don't know. If you have an idea, drop it in the comments below. We're still naming this. We're still coming up with this. It's literally coming to us as we are building the plane as we are flying it. That is so true. Um, But definitely follow along. Let us know if you are along on this journey with us because we see you, we recognize you. You aren't alone. Down the road, we're actually in the works of creating a Discord server for all of the connections out there that we make of those people that feel like they're on this journey with us, especially if you are on the divine feminine, divine masculine twin flame train, because choo choo, that stuff is
True,
crazy.
true.
Oh man. Um, yeah, and just let us know what your feedback is. And like I said, please have grace with us as we move forward through this because we are having grace with ourselves. Lisa,
Literally.
any parting words from you?
I want to end this with what I started our first try with this podcast with, because I pulled a card. Okay,
Ah,
so Jess tried this like 3 or 4 times, and then her kids came through, and she was like, "Oh, come on!" And I was just shuffling my cards, and it came through. And the strength card is about being or she is a very patient individual who can accomplish anything she puts her mind to. So I don't know if you, stupid blur.
go like
So
this.
it's like, huh?
Go behind it,
Oh,
like this.
smart.
No, sometimes it helps.
Doesn't work.
It's all
Okay,
right.
so you see like an angel here, and you see how it calms the lion. And I find that being such a good metaphor as to someone, a divine feminine maybe, working with her divine masculine maybe. So that was just like a very good card that pulled up for me for Jess. She is strength herself.
Did you know that that card is associated with Leos?
It makes sense. You are a Leo.
But also with that, do you think that that lion could be that unhealed version of ourselves, that ego form chomping at the bit? And really, it's just somebody just needs to say, "Hey, you're a pretty kitty."
Yeah, possibly. The lion needs that too.
Well, with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap a couple of minutes early because I don't know that we have anything that we need to add. Stay
No, I
along,
think we're
stay
good
tuned.
now. Stay
Thanks for
tuned. I'm
being
looking forward
here.
to this.
We
Yay.
we appreciate you all. Take care.
Bye.